I'm Aveline, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having an amazing day. So, a little bit late today, a little bit of a late night upload, but I really wanted to share this house with you. So, we're building a Japandi Townhouse today. Before we get too far into talking about it though, just quickly want to give you guys a little bit of a disclaimer. Thank you to the EA Career Network for making this video possible by providing me with codes throughout the years. I appreciate it so much. And also, if you want to support the channel, I have a creator code with EA. You can see it on the screen right now. Feel free to use it if you want to, or don't. No pressure whatsoever. Now, let's get back to the video. So this house is built in Mount Komorebi, and it is inspired by some kind of house that I found on Pinterest, which I don't have a picture of anymore, sorry, but I don't know. Like, you would think it would be so easy to just start saving them, but no. I very much just click them down, or like close them, and then I just forget everything about them. It's a habit by now. I can't change it. I don't know. It's stupid. But it's inspired by a picture from Pinterest anyway. It has room for, I think it's only, if I recall correctly, because I'm also currently building on another house that's a little bit bigger than this one, so I'm slightly mixing the two together. But it has room for 1 to 2 Sims, because there's a double bed on the second floor. And overall, so the second floor is like their bedroom area mainly, and then the ground floor is for living. So there's an open plan situation going on. They do have, very luxuriously, have 2 bathroom situations. With that being, I don't remember what the word for it is, but I'm trying to follow, because we're building in Mount Komorebi, and even though this is like more traditionally, not traditionally, the opposite of that, a more contemporary house, contemporary townhouse, I wanted to still follow some of the traditions that they have when it comes to Japanese houses. So there's a genkan, I think isn't that the word for where you put your shoes? Or if it's not, it's a word for something else. Definitely though is a word for something with interior. And the 2 bathrooms they're split up so that there's a room with like bathing and a sink, and then there's a separate room with a separate door as well that has the toilet in there. And that's the situation with both the ground floor but also the second floor. So, and overall I just wanted this house to be like super cozy and kind of Japandi as well, so we are taking inspiration from some of the more modern looking Japanese pieces that are in the game, even though it's very, actually, is it very limited? I actually, when I think back on Snow Escape, I actually think they had a very nice balance between the more traditional pieces and the slightly more modern ones. So maybe not, maybe it's not that limited. But I really wanted to take those pieces and then mix them with some Scandinavian. I feel like every time I have done a Japandi tiny house or apartment, there's a bunch of you who seem very enthusiastic about that kind of interior. So we're doing a whole townhouse today with it. At least trying to. It's very like cozy color scheme. It's very neutrals based. There's a lot of beige, a lot of brown in there, a little, of course, green, because plants. I am a plant fanatic. It's just how I work. It's how I function. I will not leave the plants out of my builds. And then there's also touches of color here and there, but not like an overall color scheme that includes like blue and yellow, for example. Just like a little, like a hint of color here and there. And just trying to keep everything like very cozy and calm as well, I think is the best word I could find to describe the interior. So I hope you guys will like it. Also, the kitchen is super small. The ground floor itself, while they do have a lot of like, it's very spacious upstairs in the bedroom, and I could possibly have fit in a very, very small secondary bedroom as well that maybe could have fit like it would have been like 6 tiles, maybe 9, probably only 6. I decided not to, because I just didn't want to do that to someone. And I figured it would be okay to just have like a couple's townhouse as well, right? But the ground floor is very small. They do have the kitchen obviously is only 4 tiles, or it's 6 tiles, but 4 of them are used for kitchen stuff. So not a full fridge either. I could have fit one there, but I didn't want to place an extra wall. And someone at some point made me aware, which is, I don't believe this is true, by the way, when it comes to like newer fridges and stuff. But someone told me at some point that they get super annoyed whenever I put a fridge next to an oven. And so I've been trying not to do that ever since, even though it doesn't really matter that much to this day. Like if you have modern fridges and a modern oven, it doesn't matter that much. But for your sake, I've tried to stop doing that, even with these like very, very small kitchens. So they have a mini fridge though, but other than that, they have what they need. And then also I decided to make a you'll see me decorate it here in a second, I think, but I created this, it's not usable, it's not functional, but I just really wanted there to be like this cute little reading nook underneath the staircase. So that's what we're doing here, spending a little bit of time on it, but it's really not functional. I did play test it. However, your sim should be able to walk up the stairs. Mine was, so yours should be too. My sim is by no means, I think this is actually my sim self. She's by no means a genius or acrobatic, athletic in any way whatsoever. So if mine can do it, yours should be able to as well. You know, yours can too. But yeah, just a cozy little like reading nook down there underneath the stairs that's hopefully kept clean and stuff, so there's no spider webs and stuff. But just keeping it cozy, you know, just cozy vibes. I think a part of me doing this build is also because someone asked a little while ago if I could do a more modern looking house that felt autumnal, and autumn for me also very often is just like, it's a vibe thing. It's an atmosphere thing. It's like, it's calm and cozy and warm, and personally I feel like this sort of color scheme is also very warm. I find Komorebi actually surprisingly pretty during I almost said summer. Well, that's like the standard in The Sims. It's kind of boring by now, isn't it? But I find it really, really beautiful during autumn. I didn't actually, and I say surprisingly, not because I think Komorebi is ugly or anything, but because I thought that seasons worked a little bit differently there, because it's snowy escape and there's a whole, maybe it just doesn't affect the area with the snow, but it does affect the other areas. I don't really know. If anybody actually knows, let me know. Also, how many of you actually play your game? Like, actually, this is a good question, I think. I'm very curious about this right now. Where do you guys actually play your games? Like, in what world do you mainly play in? Or in what world do you mainly play in? Because I don't think I've ever thought about this before, but Komorebi is very niche, kind of, I think. Do you mainly, if you would go there or use the world in your gameplay, would it mainly be like a travel destination to you? Or what? I suppose you could use this as like a rental as well for a couple, to be honest, but it's not necessarily decorated to be a rental, but it could look like an Airbnb too, I think. Actually, at this point, I think anything could look like an Airbnb. When my sister was visiting in August, I'm not gonna mention where this place is either, because I don't want to do that, okay? But we stayed at this, it was a woman's house, and she had like rented out her second floor. It was rented out as an Airbnb, and it was the first thing I thought. Well, first of all, the house was very typically like, I don't know what the term for this kind of architecture is in Danish. In English, but in Danish, it's murmestervilla. So it's probably like from late 1890s or until like 1910, 1920s or something like that. Is at least what I think. That area or the era, those, I not slept a whole lot tonight or last night, so I'm a little bit language-wise all over the place. Anyway, just want to get that out of my system. But this house probably built in that era, but I don't fully know when these houses are built, so I could be wrong about this. It's a guesstimation. But it was definitely an older house, first of all. Second of all, the first thing I thought when I got up there was, where the frick is the lighting? Because there were no lamps in like the hallway. There wasn't, I think there was a very, very dark one, or not very lit up, like, I don't know how to say, a strong lamp. I don't know how to say this. Anyway, in the kitchen, and then there was a floor lamp in the living room, which in itself was like, okay. And then the first evening I was there, this massive spider started crawling up one of the walls, and right next to the bed that I was supposed to sleep in, by the way. So we very quickly decided that, okay, I was just gonna sleep in the same room as my sister and her daughter, my niece. That's fine. But then the next day, when I tell you, like, I don't know, I feel like I personally would be embarrassed to rent out a place that was very clearly not cleaned, especially knowing that with Airbnb prices, like, you pay so much for cleaning, right? And there were spider webs all over the place. Spider webs everywhere. There were daddy long legs, or whatever they're called, all over the place as well. It was a lot. One of the chairs in the dining area of the kitchen had like very visible spider webbing around the legs. Like, how do you miss that when you're cleaning? Airbnb cleaning prices are absolutely insane. Something's not really making sense. So at this point, I'm like, anything could be an Airbnb, to be honest, including this townhouse. It's not really meant or like built to be one, but I suppose, like, again, if you have a couple living here, technically, if it's a real house, they could like go off on vacation, and in the meantime, someone else could be renting the house, I suppose. I wouldn't mind personally myself to be living here for a little bit. Probably wouldn't want to live here all the time, but for a little bit, yeah, sure. I feel like it's cozy. But yeah, do you have similar experiences with Airbnbs? Like, have you arrived somewhere and it was just like very clearly not cleaned properly? Because I'm very sensitive to spider webbing and spiders. Not so much daddy long legs anymore, as long as I don't get close to them, but like I can be in the same room as them. I cannot function if I know there's a spider. I just can't. So it was a bit like, I didn't relax the whole time we were in the house, which is terrible. But it is what it is, right? Just quickly want to say as well, when I talked about like building in Komorebi, my voice, it's not doing what it's supposed to. Anyway, when building in Komorebi during autumn, I wanted to bring some of that a little bit into the landscaping as well. So obviously we are building during autumn, which means that some of the plants look different if you place this house down during summer, for example. They will look a little bit more vibrant, but it's not something that I can necessarily take into consideration when I'm building or decorating or landscaping, because I would have to swap between seasons all the time and it just gets very, very messy. However, I like how these plants look during autumn, and I really wanted to bring some red into the landscaping. I think it looked nice, or I thought it looked nice with the trees as well, because we have the red one here in the background, but then on the side as well, I don't know if I placed it down already, but there ends up being one that is like red and orange, super autumnal colors to me personally. And so to tie it all together, I decided to add some red in the landscaping itself. I've done that quite a lot with my autumn houses, but it just makes sense to me. Some of them I've also done purple, and obviously like a lot of green as well. Dark green I feel is very nice for not just white houses, but also autumnal builds. So I'm not sure what the theme for the next one is actually, but it's also built during autumn. I don't think I necessarily went for like autumn vibes for the house, but still built during autumn. You'll get builds that aren't built during autumn soonish, I think, but you'll have to wait a little bit. Before I finish up the voiceover, I quickly want to ask you guys if there's anything you'd like to see me cover with the new pack, by the way, because I am currently brainstorming and writing down ideas for different builds and stuff. So if there's anything, let me know in the comments down below. But other than that, we are at the end of the video. So if you guys like this house, you can download it off the gallery. My ID is AvelineYT, and you can also find it under the hashtag Aveline or AvelineYT. And as always, the trade files can be found over on my Patreon, which will be linked to in the description box, as well as in the comment, or in the pinned comment down below, where you can also find a link to my booktube channel. So if you like to read, definitely feel free to go check it out. But that is all I got for you guys today, so I hope you all enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe and all that good stuff if you did, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!